Hello guys, I'm Alexandra. Welcome to my channel. Today I'll be discussing the effect of the new moon in 12 degrees Aquarius that will be happening tomorrow on the 1st of February. So let's begin with Aries. So what will the moon mean for you, Aries? Well, the new moon will be happening in your 11th house of clubs, groups, peers, friends, and our social circles. So the new moon in Aquarius means a new vision, a new beginning, and you'll get a new insights as to what you should be doing. And this is strongly related to your career because the new moon is forming a conjunct to Saturn, which is the ruler of your 10th and 11th houses. So this is related to your career, but the insight will be happening how you should move your career forward in the area of friends, groups, and peers, and the wider world, your larger social circle that you relate with and how you fit in it. Now, this new moon will be forming a square to Uranus in Taurus. Well, Uranus in Taurus has been in Taurus for a while right now, and the disruption it's causing is in the area of your second house. Your second house of values, assets, self-worth, self-esteem. So along with that disruption now, it means that disruption will be a strong factor in this new direction you'll be moving into, highlighted by your new moon in your 11th house. Now, something else to note is that Mercury will be forming a conjunct to Pluto in your 10th house. So you'll be having new insights, new flashes of deep insights in relation to your career house, in relation to your 10th house of social reputation. So watch out to the mental insights that are coming to you right now, the deep insights. Pay close attention. So we move on to Taurus. The new moon will be happening in your 10th house, and this new moon, it will be affecting your reputation, a new beginning in your reputation, in your career, and in terms of what legacy you want to leave behind. So this new moon will be also related to your ninth house because it's conjunct Saturn, which rules your ninth house and your 10th house. So there'll be an element of there's something that you've discovered in regard to your ninth house of education, of foreign affairs. The ninth house also rules pilgrimages because it rules our worldview. So there's something related to your worldview that will be strongly influential to you, that will affect how you're able to carry out this vision brought by the new moon in Aquarius. But you also require a lot of hard work because it's conjunct Saturn. So it won't come easy. You need to pay attention to what ninth house insights you're getting in order to bring to life this vision that is directed to your career change. Also, these changes are related to the Uranus that's causing disruptions in your first house of self. So you've been undergoing a period where you feel like there's a change in how you see yourself, or you've been wanting change in regard to the self. And it because this new moon is happening in your house of career, it means those changes that you've been experiencing somehow are forming a good relationship with a new vision that you want for your public image. So pay close attention to those themes, your ninth house. See what is coming to light, and see how it's connected to how you want to change yourself. And there's something else I want to note is that the Mercury conjunct Pluto is happening in your ninth house as well. So you'll be receiving new insights. Thank God you'll be receiving a lot of insights that will come through how you analyze logic. It will come through because Mercury rules the mind and communication. So these insights could come either through travel, they could come through higher education, they could come through religion or spirituality. It depends, but just be on the lookout for those insights that will be coming into to your life, because they will affect the vision you have for yourself in regard to career, because they are in the ninth house and Saturn rules the ninth and it's conjunct your new moon. Okay, moving on to Gemini. So for Gemini, this new moon will be happening in in the ninth house. Sorry for that. For Gemini, the new moon will be happening in the ninth house. So there will be some kind of renewing oneself in regard to your higher mind. Your world will be opened up. Perhaps this will be through spirituality. It could be through travel, as I said earlier. It could be through, maybe you discovered a book that opens up your mind. But you also need to put in the work, because Saturn is conjunct the new moon, and Saturn is ruling your ninth house and your eighth house of transformation. And your eighth, so it means there's some kind of rebirth, there's some kind of renewed transformation that is happening, that will need to happen to birth this that will birth this shift in your higher mind, this expansion in your higher mind. And Mercury conjunct Pluto will be happening in your eighth house. Therefore, it aids in this with this moon, because when you have Mercury conjunct Pluto, you a lot of insights are revealed. It's very important, so pay attention to that. What this aspect will unleash in terms of your underworld, in terms of shared resources. You know, the assets you share with people, maybe something may be revealed about that, or something will be revealed about a secret that's been kept hidden, whether in yourself or by someone else. So pay close attention to that. And this new moon will be forming a square to the Uranus in Taurus, which Uranus has been in Taurus for a while now. And it will be forming a square to Uranus is in Taurus, is in your 12th house. So the 12th house is the house of the collective unconscious, isolation, wanting to merge with something bigger than yourself. So with Uranus there, it's causing a disruption there. You might receive a lot of insights, or you might suddenly want to know more about this house. You might suddenly have a shift in how you see matters related, how you see spirituality, how you see merging with something bigger than you. You know, how you see surrender, how you see dreams. Like the 12th house also rules dreams, but in a different way from the 8th house. So this perhaps you may also have been craving isolation for a while, but whatever change was caused in your 12th house will be important in bringing out the new changes that the new moon in Aquarius is showing. It will be important in bringing that vision to light. Now, for Cancers, this new moon will be happening in your eighth house. So, because it's happening in your eighth house, and the eighth house rules the underworld, it rules secrets, you may finally just realize a lot about maybe some hidden assets, maybe some inheritance, maybe something you've been keeping buried deep may suddenly come to light, or you may suddenly be interested in activities that are eighth house related, maybe investments, maybe banks, finances. You may suddenly be interested in, shared resources that you have with others. You may be interested in the occult, any eighth house ruled activity. And Saturn will also be in your eighth house. So this Saturn in the eighth house can reveal a lot when you work for it, because Saturn rules responsibility, and Saturn in this case also rules the seventh house. So this new things you'll be experiencing from the eighth house are heavily reliant on the relationships you have, the partnerships you have, maybe the close one-on-one relationship. It could be a friendship, it could be a business partnership. So look at how those relationships will lead to a change, a new change in your shared assets. And because Mercury is conjunct Pluto in your seventh house, there might be some news or some new revelation or some new insights in regard to your partnerships, in regard to your one-on-one relationship. So you'd like to be paying attention to that as this transit is continuing. And this new moon will be forming a square to Uranus in your, which house is that? Uranus will be in your my brain just short circuited. Uranus will be in your 11th house of friendships and your social circle. So you've been experiencing a disruption in your your social circle, or in how you fit in certain groups. There could have been a change. Maybe you changed groups, or maybe there's a new there's something new about the group you've been in. Maybe there's a change you initiated, or that was initiated. And so this change is related to the new vision you have about your eighth house assets, your eighth house, the revelations that will be revealed from your eighth house. So, and it also involves a change in structure. So this disruption in your social circle is related to some kind of structural change that was initiated by your assets, your shared resources. That is Saturn in the eighth house. The next planet, the next sign, sorry, is Leo. So for Leo, this new moon will be happening in your seventh house. So there's something new about your partnerships. It could be you began and you begin a new relationship with different business partners. You began maybe a new romantic relationship or a new friendship. So that's what could be, or you have a vision about a vision about your current relationships, how to take them to a better level, or to improve on them somewhat. But it requires hard work, because due to the involvement of Saturn, you need to there's a change in structure, because Saturn is forming a square low. Saturn is forming a square to Uranus in your 10th house. So there's been a disruption in either your public image. It could be a good or a bad disruption, but in your public image, in your reputation, in your career. And this disruption now is because the new moon is forming a square to Uranus in your 10th house, and the new moon is in your 7th house. This disruption is related to your one-on-one relationships. So right now, your one-on-one relationships are somehow involved in the continued disruption in your public image, either for good or for ill. And the other thing is that Saturn, that is conjuncting your new moon, rules your sixth and your seventh house. So your sixth house of routine, of health, your sixth house of discipline is involved in your vision, in this new change that you're bringing to life. So you need to be aware of that. Perhaps there's a change in routine you need to initiate as well. And the other thing is that Mercury and is forming a close conjunction to, not an exact conjunction, but a close conjunction to Pluto in your sixth house. So there could be something new revealed about how you spend your everyday life, about your health, something new revealed about maybe a new diet you should take, a new exercise regimen, or something you should change about your routine. So pay close attention to that. So for Virgo, the new moon will be happening in your house of routine, your house of health, diet, discipline, work, and it will be conjuncting Saturn, which rules your fifth and your sixth house. So this new vision you're bringing into life is related to your fifth house of self-expression. And so you need to work to bring your self-expression to light. Without it, you can manifest this new beginning. And the ruler of your fifth house of self-expression and your sixth house of work and health is forming a square to Uranus in your ninth house. So to bring this vision into light, you need to observe the structural disruptions between Saturn and Uranus. So Saturn is introducing, like you need to pay attention to the structure that is needed to bring this vision to light. And you need to pay attention to bringing out this structure in a way that is fresh and true to you because of the nature of Uranus. So Uranus is in your ninth house, meaning that you need to pay attention to the insights you are getting about your higher mind. You know, the insights you get about your higher mind, about expanding your higher mind, this could be happening through higher education, through travel, through long distance travel, through spirituality, through religion. It could be anything. You could have met someone who somehow causes a shift in your higher mind, in your belief system, that is the ninth house. So you need to pay close attention to how your ninth house is being transformed, because it's gonna be very important to incorporate in that, so that you can have uh, good changes in your way of viewing responsibility and structure, which is Saturn, because Saturn is forming a square to Uranus in the ninth. So pay attention to those insights you're getting from Uranus in the ninth house, so you can bring out this new moon in your sixth house. So because now it's gonna transform, the new moon is gonna transform how it's gonna show new beginnings in your area of work, in your area of health. So pay very, very close attention. Plus, Mercury conjunct Pluto will be happening in your fifth house. So pay close attention to the insights Mercury conjunct Pluto brings in regard to your creative self-expression, in regard to risk taking, in regard to children, perhaps. Pay close attention to the fifth house themes, because they'll help you bring this new moon into they'll help you bring the energy of the new moon into better reality, into reality. So the next sign we have is Libra. So for Libra, the new moon will be happening in your fifth house. So there'll be some kind of new beginning in regard to how you express yourself, in regard to risk taking, in regard to gambling, if you want to gamble. If you yeah, in regard, gambling is a form of risk taking, in regard to romance as well. So pay close attention to that. And because this new moon is conjunct Saturn, which rules your fourth house and your fifth house, it means that you need to pay close attention to the inside, the you need fourth house themes, the home, things that make you feel safe, ancestral inheritance, not inheritance in terms of property. This is ancestral inheritance in terms of psychological patterns. You need to pay up close attention to those emotional habits that you have inside. And you'll get more insight into these things because Mercury is forming a conjunct with Pluto in your fourth house. So pay very, very close attention to what insights come to your mind about fourth house related issues, so that because this will help you bring the energy of the new moon into your life better, as well as the fact that Saturn, which is forming a conjunct to the new moon, is also squaring Uranus, that is in your eighth house. Eighth house is the house of rebirths, shared resources, inheritance, shared assets, and the like. So there has been a disruption in regard to your shared resources since Uranus entered your eighth house. I believe it's been a while now. It's been, I think, more than a year or around that amount of time. This could have been good disruptions, or you can call them bad disruptions, but the thing is, the disruptions probably are in line with the energies within yourself right now. So these disruptions are somehow related to the Saturn in that is forming a conjunct to the new moon. So you need to pay attention to how those disruptions in your eighth house, what have they revealed, and see how you can form a new kind of structure, new kind of how to shape your responsibilities in a new way in order to birth your visions into light and bring out these fifth house themes of romance, um, uh, self-expression, and the like. So you need to work together with your fifth house and your eighth house. For the next sign, that is Scorpio. For Scorpio, this new moon is happening in your fourth house of safety and security, of what makes you, what your needs, your emotional needs, and the like. So you are seeing how you can create the same security, maybe in a different way. Like you're looking to create a new form of security. But you'll need to involve your third house as well, because then this new moon is conjunct Saturn, which rules your third and fourth houses. So in this means it's about, because the third house rules communication, maybe a lot of communication will need to be done on your part, or you siblings, or neighbors, or your close environments will somehow be related to how you bring this new vision of security, of feeling safe, of safety into light. And because this new moon and Saturn are forming a square to Uranus in the seventh house, it means the disruption that has been happening in your relationships, and with as well, there's this the new structure you've been forming in relation to your fourth house. uh, Everything needs to come together, so you need to know that your partnerships you're involved with, whether they're business partnerships or one-to-one relationships with a friend or a partner, somehow need to come together for you to achieve this vision of a new form of internal security. It needs you to adopt new methods, because Saturn is squaring Uranus, the planet of disruptions. So going to the next sign, which is Sagittarius. So for Sagittarius, this new moon will be happening in the third house. So you're having a new vision in terms of how you want to communicate differently, how you want to mentally process things differently, how you want your close environment to be, how maybe you want the kind of neighbors you'd want, or uh, maybe the kind of change you want your siblings to embody, you know, things like that. And because Saturn, which is conjuncting your the new moon, is also ruling the second house and the third house, it means this new vision you have somehow relates closely to your second house of assets, your second house of possessions, your second house of self-esteem and values. So pay close attention to that. And because Mercury conjuncts Pluto in your second house, you need to pay attention to the new insights you get in regard to your self-worth, in regard to your value, in regard to the things you own, because that will help bring the new moon energy forth properly. And there's been this ongoing Saturn square Uranus transit, and because Saturn is in your third house, this new structure, this structure that involves how do I put this? The Uranus has been causing disruption in your sixth house of work, of health, of diet, of what did I not mention? Discipline. So like you've been having to embrace adopting a new kind of structure because of Uranus. So and that new kind of structure is related to your third house and your sixth house. So it relates to how you process things, your communication, your surroundings, and how you can fit that to work for you in the house of work. But at the same time, because this new one is happening in the third house, it's somehow helping with with that transfer that has been ongoing for a long time. But you need to find a way to put all this together and pay close attention to the insights you get about your second house, so that you can bring this energy properly into light. Now, for Capricorn, this new moon is happening in your second house. So you are starting to see your self-esteem differently. Maybe you're starting to redefine it. You're also starting to see your possessions, the things you own, your assets differently. You have a new vision for them. You This energy is related also to your first house of self, and because Mercury and Pluto will be forming a conjunct in your first house of self, you'll be having to pay attention to new revelations about yourself. And because those new revelations will help you bring out this new vision about your assets, because the Saturn that is forming a conjunct to the new moon is also the ruler of your first house of self. And so now you have to integrate the two houses it rules and pay close attention to the Saturn square Uranus transit that's been happening for a while now. So this new moon highlights it. It helps bring it back into focus. So you need to pay attention to the Uranus in the fifth house of self-expression and gambling and playing and romance, because that will have an effect as to how you'll be able to have a new vision about your self-worth, your self-value, and your assets. So for Aquarius, the new moon will be happening in your first house of self. So you have a new vision about who you want to be, about how you want to define yourself. But you need to pay close attention to your 12th house as well, because the new moon is forming a conjunct to Saturn, which rules your 12th house and your first house. So your 12th house is the house of collective unconscious, the house of self-undoing, self-sabotage, solitary confinement, as living away from people, etc. So to redefine yourself, to embrace this new vision you have about yourself, what you need to do is look at your 12th house. And what will help you is that Mercury conjunct Pluto will be in your 12th house during this transit. So you'll be receiving new insight regarding some unconscious things you may have kept hidden, or maybe, okay, the 12th house also the rules hidden enemies. It may also bring out the hidden enemies, or it might make you want to merge with the divine through some form of activity or through some spirituality. It could be actually through any activity. Even hobbies can make you feel like you're merging with the divine, or even money. But you need to make sure it's a very clear way, that you're not just hoping for, so you're just surrendering to something because it feels good. Make sure you are paying close attention to those subconscious insights that are brought forth, because they'll help you define this new self that you want to define. Uranus has been in your fourth house, that the fourth house of the home and of internal security, of family. So there's been disruptions in your fourth house, and somehow that is related in bringing out this new vision of the self. So Uranus has been causing those disruptions, and Saturn has been in your first house. So there's been a lot of lessons in terms of redefining yourself and how that relates to your family, your home, security, and your inner emotional patterns and your needs. And the next sign is Pisces. So for Pisces, this new moon happens in your 12th house. So there'll be new insights in regard to your subconscious, in regard to how you've been previously self-sabotaging, in regard to spirituality, in regard to how you can surrender to the divine. So Saturn is conjuncting this new moon. So this won't be easy for you to do, because Saturn requires hard work, duty, responsibility. And Saturn is also ruling your 11th house, is also ruling your 11th house. Therefore, what this means is that somehow these new revelations about your 12th house, your subconscious, your self-sabotaging behaviors will be related to your social circle, your friend groups, your peers, your clubs, the clubs you belong to. So you need to pay close attention to those clubs and those social groups you belong to, because Mercury will be conjunct Pluto in your 11th house. So there'll be new insights revealed about your social circles. And if you incorporate this insight, it will help you bring out this energy that is helping you understand your subconscious, understand ways in which you self-sabotage. Uranus will be in your third house of communication, your close environment, your neighborhood, your siblings. The disruption that has been happening in that area is connected to the hard work you need to do in your subconscious in order to receive these insights that this new moon is bringing. You've been experiencing the Saturn square Uranus transit as well for the past months, therefore, and that transit has been helping you restructure your subconscious mind in regard to the third house things, which are neighbors, your close environment, your siblings, and how you communicate, how you process things, etc. So, so Pisces, make sure you include that, and you'll be able to bring out this energy of the new moon in Aquarius that will bring you new visions and new insights. So that is all the signs I believe, and I do wish you the best for this new moon, and have a nice day. Bye.